Through enduring hardships, the tears of pain I shed today will be the tears of joy I shed tomorrow. I am Coach mjdtiger, certified life coach and mentor. Through passion and purpose, aiding those through the valleys, over the mountains, and conquering the volcanoes of life. While free, yet connected to everything, every place, and every person around us, we can obtain a life of freedom and wellness through passion and purpose. There is no end. You are here now. And if no one has told you this today, I love you. You deserve to hear that. Salute to you all. The brave never fall. Learn, laugh, and level up. How are you feeling? Take a moment to do a self-check-in for yourself. Do this every morning, throughout the day as needed, and every night before you close your eyes for sleep. Ask yourself, how are you feeling mentally? How are you feeling emotionally? How are you feeling physically? How are you feeling spiritually? And all, how do you feel in your mind? How do you feel in your body? How do you feel in your heart? And how do you feel in your soul? Balancing yourself is a healthy daily practice that will reliably keep you in harmony with your entire mind, body, heart, and soul. Take these next few moments of meditation in silence to answer those very questions. How are you feeling? Something to think about every day, every single day. Fear, mistrust in yourself, doubt, limited beliefs. These are things that you have to rid yourself of every single day. And it may have to be a reset button every single day. That reset button is trust. And that button is powered by self-love and self-respect you have for yourself. Everything that you fear, everything that you believe is holding you back, everything that you think is going wrong, there's always another way. There's always a different point. And sometimes we're going too fast. We got to slow down, sometimes even stop. The goal is just not to go backwards. It's to go forwards. We can only do that by trusting ourselves to know we can get over fear and obstacles, and limited beliefs, and the stories we tell ourselves each day that we can't do it. Yes, we can. Yes, we will. Yes, we do. That is something to think about every single day, every single moment. You do, you can, you will. There is no should. There is no try. Just do it. Be patient with yourself, love yourself, be grateful for what you have, and forgive yourself, and keep moving forward. You are stronger than what you are giving yourself credit for. Trust yourself. You are. Episode 12. You are communicating effectively. Anyone who knows me, and one of the things I have in the forefront for the Brave Never Fall, anyone who I help, one of the first things I can identify within a person based on their past, where they want to go in the future, the easiest way for me to identify and align and empathize with someone is how they communicate. Not only with me, but with themselves. More importantly, how they communicate with themselves. But for me, being an outsider looking into their world, I have to step back and say, slow down. Let's try to understand this person the best way we possibly can. And I can only hope that that same energy and that same empathy and understanding of communication is going to be on their side as well. Unfortunately, in this world, not too many people can communicate effectively to another person without having a few issues. And we all have them. Everybody has their ups and downs in communication skills. All we have to do is listen to what other people tell us. For me, everyone that I've known has always had a problem with my tone. My tone is, as you can hear in my voice now, it can go low, it can go a little bit higher, but I'm also very direct and I'm very assertive, which in a lot of ways to some people who aren't capable of adjusting to that or empathizing with that, I come off as very abrasive and hard. And that doesn't work for every person. For other people, they love my tone. They think it's something that is comforting. It's something that is reassuring. It's something that's motivating them. They don't hear the bullshit in my voice, and it benefits them. So we all have things about our communication skills that are going to be positives to certain people and negatives to other people. Ultimately, it's up for us to decide within ourselves, what are we doing with ourselves as far as communication goes in the first place? Because all the external stuff, as we always do with the Brave Never Fall, we start inwards, we work our way outwards. Internally, that dialogue that we tell ourselves, those stories that we tell ourselves each and every day, of course, they're going to project themselves completely out of us and onto other people. And we are the ones, each individual, are the sole proprietors and the people who have the responsibility in our own world to make sure that how we're communicating is something that we cannot find fault in others if they don't appreciate how we communicate. And why is communicating effectively, so damn important? It's because we do it even when we're not speaking. That's why the broad range of communication is so important. Nonverbal communication is one of the hardest things for a lot of people to deal with because they can't not say something. They have to have something coming out of their mouths at all times to relay how they're feeling, what they're thinking. One of the things I love by Tao which is what I follow, is that we try to communicate without speaking first. We speak only when we have to, and we speak for fun, entertainment. We speak for when we're in a good mood, when things are pleasant. But when it's time for us to detach, we can go into silent mode. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we're ignoring people. It just means we are detaching because we have nothing to add to the conversation or nothing to just initiate upon conversation, because I can do it through action. And we talk about this on the Brave Never Fall a lot. There's a lot of action going on with all sorts of people. They talk, and they don't back it up with anything. They're just talking. And if that's the case, what are they saying? And is it worth hearing? Communication is like food. You can't get too much of it. You can have the promise of a certain dish coming to your table if you're at a restaurant, and if they don't get that order right, after a while, you just don't want it anymore. Even if that last dish that came out was the best one of all, you don't want it. You've had enough. which is why it's important that you get it right the first time. Sometimes those orders come out and they're not right because we've had too many side orders. We've asked for too many specialty items. Who knows what it is? But the point is not how you like it. I tend to lean to the side of simplicity, which equals to directness and assertiveness. I try to get my point across as quickly as possible, but that's not always the case. Sometimes we have to have the ability and have the time to communicate effectively and slow down and be able to get all our words out. And we want to feel that the person across from us is actually listening to understand. They're patient. They understand through empathy, true empathy, what you are trying to convey. And if that person on the other side is listening to you in that sort of way, with that sort of passion and empathy and love for you, that is called unconditional love. But not every person deserves unconditional love. And the ones who don't are the ones who struggle with communicating effectively because they don't want to learn how to communicate effectively. Because there's more at stake with ego and pride and hubris. They know everything, you do not. And we can turn those tables around. I don't know everything. You don't know everything. There's a difference between speaking your truths and speaking all truths. When you start speaking for other people, when you start telling other people who they are and what they do is either hard or it's not hard enough or it's too easy or they're not intelligent enough or they don't make enough money or they don't have this and that. And that's all a person's opinion. That's all a person's perspective on what they want for their lives. Which is why communicating and speaking effectively is so important, because those words hurt. And once they're out, you can't bring them back. They're out. And there's no getting them back once they're out. You can't reel them back in. So it's really important that what comes out of your mouth, no one's perfect. We all say things and a second later we're like, why did I say that? And that could be the most kindest thing. That could be a compliment at the wrong time for a person. We all say things that we regret immediately. But what is the impact? That's the point. What is the intention? That's the point. Especially in any type of relationship, work environment, church environment, family dynamic, friendship, even how you communicate with your pets. What is the intent behind what you're trying to convey? What are you trying to say? Is what's coming out of your mouth productive? Is it beneficial? Is it essential? Is it aimed to hurt? Is it aimed to motivate? Is it aimed to inspire? Is it aimed to encourage? To affirm? To reassure? Is it loving? Is it kind? Is it sweet? We know before we even say these things, if we slow down and detach, what's going to come out. But sometimes we get in a wrestling match. We get into a verbal back and forth with someone. And before you know it, you've lost control of your communication. You cannot communicate effectively because you're not detached enough. You care too much. And that's when you start shifting into pride, into ego. And I suffer from this big time, and I still suffer from it now. We all do in some sense. But ownership and accountability over these sort of things is really important. I've been told enough about my tone that I have to work on it. It's a focal point now. If you hear it enough, it's a problem. And I don't want people to think that I'm problematic when it comes to my communicating, because I feel I communicate very well. But I want to be able to communicate with everyone, even the people who are intimidated by my voice. I don't want them to feel that way. So what can I do to do that? And for them, I have to be less direct. I have to be less aggressive. For those who can take it, I can go in that direction. And that's what life is all about. That's what communication is all about, is adapting to the person you're talking to. And in a lot of cases, that takes a tremendous amount of time. But ultimately, it doesn't matter if you don't respect the person you're talking to, or you've been disrespected by the person you're talking to. So communication also goes back to our values and our morals and our principles and our boundaries. But we cannot set in stone all of that stuff for ourselves without first understanding that we have to accept the boundaries of others and respect them, or the conversation is not going to happen. A huge boundary for me is people who disrespect me by not allowing me to finish my thoughts. It is a huge red flag for me. And the reason why is because I always, as a life coach, part of my job is to listen, to not respond, but to understand in general. I listen to plenty of people and I don't give any advice. That is a form of communication. I will listen for an hour and I will say, I completely understand. I empathize with you. The next time we talk, I want to know this. I haven't given him any advice. I just listened. It is few and far between that I get that kind of attention from other people, but I'm a coach. I don't expect everyone to have that sort of patience and that sort of discipline and control over how they speak and listen. And that also goes into the area of disagreement. I can listen with an empathetic ear because it doesn't matter to me what that person believes in. It doesn't matter to me what they've done or what they've said. It doesn't affect me because they're not disrespecting me. I don't have to agree with anything that they say. I don't have to be in alignment with anything that they say because I know who I am. Therefore, what this person believes in and how they carry themselves and how they communicate is their business, their problem, their responsibility, their accountability. It's part of their life. The good thing about communication is that there's a reason why we take communications and classes and courses in institutions like college and high school. I took communications when I was in college. I took public speaking when I was in college. And I learned through that we are in so much control of how we speak and how we communicate, that it is completely our fault if we're not communicating effectively with others, even if that dancing partner of communication isn't really communicating effectively as well. It is a discipline. And I can tell you it's something I still work on. It is not easy, but it's something I really want to work on because it's part of the human being. The older you get, the more people you meet, the more diversity. This world is getting smaller and you're meeting all sorts of people and you have to be able to communicate in all sorts of ways. So it's highly important to me that I figure out ways to make everyone feel comfortable when they talk to me. And it's going to take time, but the focal point is there. And I see the benefits in it. Communicating effectively empowers you to feel confident in talking to anyone. That opens up doors in careers, in relationships that you never would have had if you did know how to communicate effectively. Just think about how many people you've turned off because you said the wrong thing at the wrong time and you slap yourself in the head for it and say, why did I say that? Well, think about the relationships that ended because you didn't say something. You really meant this, but you just let this happen and you're like, oh, I should have just told him how I really meant, or I should have just told my boss what I really thought. I should have told this person this. I shouldn't have told this person that. That all goes back to us making those little adjustments and finding a healthy place within ourselves to find communication to be beneficial for us for the right reasons. Not for manipulation, not for control, not for narcissism or toxicity, to get what we want, not for selfishness, but to actually be able to interact with another human being in a positive, healthy, joyful, peaceful, easy way. And after every conversation, we say, wow, that was not a waste of my time. In fact, I actually learned something. I gained something. This person is unique. This person has perspective. This person has a beautiful soul. This person has ambition. This person has humor. You can't know all that about a person if you're only talking about yourself. We have to get out of ourselves and start learning about other people. And we don't have to agree with them. We don't have to be excited every single time we have a conversation. We have to put on a false face and say, yay, yay, yay. We're not circus clowns. We don't have to agree. We can have a healthy, mature conversation. And the best people in my life right now are able to do that. And it's important to align yourself with people who can communicate the way you communicate. Because again, we all communicate differently. There's people who have crude humor, and because I have plenty of friends who we just have the dirtiest mouths and we talk and we have fun and laugh, but it's just jokes and it's laughs. It's just fun. We don't talk like that all the time. But that's what's the fun part about it. You're aligned with people who understand that you can be loose 1 minute and have some fun, and then have a serious conversation and listen and have a shoulder to cry on at another time. Communicating effectively is something that is a skill. There's no excuse for anyone to not be able to communicate effectively. It's the one thing, one of many, but in my opinion, the one thing that if everyone focused on it, their lives would be better overnight, because all you have to do is zip it and listen. Zip it and listen. Stop talking and listen. And listen for the right reasons. It's extremely important. Empathy. What is a conversation if you don't understand the feelings and emotions of another at a default level of just the basic human condition? If someone is going through a hard time, you listen. You're not going to change anything by offering them unsolicited advice. You're not going to offer them anything by telling them what they should have done better, that what they're doing is wrong, that they're not doing this and they're not doing enough. It's not an appropriate time to do that. That's selfish. That's manipulative. That's narcissistic. That's toxic. You listen. You listen and understand because it benefits you. Because eventually you're going to be going through exactly what that person's going through. And it would benefit you in that moment to learn what this person is going through, how they're going to handle it, what got them in this situation. You can learn from these people. This is why I push communication so far in the front of the Brave Never Fall. This aspect alone, one word, empathy. Empathy, unconditional love for those who deserve it. If you do not have empathy, if you cannot understand what other people are going through when they speak to you, and you don't have the patience to understand, you are offering those people nothing but a shell of yourself. You might as well just have a cardboard cutout sit there and you walk away and go do whatever it is you want to do while this person talks to this cardboard box and get nothing from the conversation. This is the funny thing about it. In some cases, that cardboard box might be the better option if you're going to sit there and listen, not listen completely, not listen to understand, and then rip them for it. All these things that they did wrong. You're going to offer them all this advice. We don't want that. So it starts with us. If we can communicate effectively and ask these people to give us the same in return, if we're doing it for them, odds are they are going to do it for you. Not in all cases. You can listen to some people until your ears fall off and they're still just going to keep talking. And that's on them. We can choose to talk to who we want to talk to. I choose to talk to people who are kind and sweet and understand that my tone comes from a place that they don't understand because they never asked to where it came from. And if there's things that I do in a communication that's wrong, I value communication. I think we all should. It's important. We have all been around people who suck at communicating, and it's cringe, it's awkward, it's not socially acceptable. You have a hard time getting in a flow with them. Doesn't mean they're a bad person. Doesn't mean that they're not good people, that they're losers or something. They're just socially awkward. There's all different types of people out there. And I can talk to a socially awkward person just like I can talk to a loquacious person who just is running their mouths the whole time. But the good thing about it is I appreciate all people. And this is the point and the lesson of this. Communicating effectively. You communicate effectively because there's so many different people out there. The benefits of being able to talk to so many different people. Again, like I said, you can learn things from certain people by having a healthy conversation with them that you would never learn from listening to a podcast or reading a book or watching a TV show or watching a documentary or going to a seminar. That one-on-one interaction or with a group of people who are maybe not aligned with you, because that's another thing. Yes, we want to align ourselves with people who are like us, but that's who we spend our most time with. But there are occasions where you're going to meet someone and talk to them for a couple hours and you're not aligned with them at all. Learn from them. They still have value. They still have stuff that they could tell you about perspectives in the world you never knew existed. Because we do get in this tunnel vision mode of we only want people around us who say the same thing as us. But then how do you know what else is going on out in the world if you're only looking at one aspect of it? Communicating effectively opens up doors and allows you to know, hey, I don't align with this, but I know what it is. Or I don't align with this because I don't care what this is because it doesn't benefit anything. Each person has that responsibility for themselves. I believe communicating effectively with all those around you equally. You don't put your boss on a pedestal. I communicate with my boss the same way I communicate with anyone else. We are all human beings. Which is why when I hear something that I need to work on from others, I'm going to work on it. What kind of a coach would I be if I didn't work on it? It's been a focal point. I'm going to continue to work on it. I'll never stop working on it. I want to be the best communicator I could possibly be, but I know that it doesn't start with my lips. It starts with my ears. If I listen more, listen to understand, empathy. Truly try to understand. When I started figuring those things out, when I really started trying to listen to someone to understand what they're coming from, those relationships have blossomed. I've listened to other people and I don't get it in return. Those relationships have dwindled. You have to have equal partnership and communication. There has to be an understanding. One day I'm going to listen, and maybe another day where I need you to speak. And zip it and then let me speak. That's how it goes. That's how it should be. And it should be natural and easy. If someone cares about you through empathy, unconditional love for those who deserve it, they'll know when it's time to speak and when it's time to be silent. For you and for themselves. The relationship grows when we allow each other to be able to communicate, to have their moments, to have their breakdowns, to have their successes and their failures. At the core of each of us, if we're good and those boundaries are set, we're setting good, healthy boundaries, not boundaries that scare people away because they're too much. Healthy boundaries that people can work around and say, I get it. I get you because you get me. Let's have a conversation. You'll know when it's a good conversation when you have one. Listen. Listen more. Listen with empathy. It's all about empathy when it comes to communication. And if no one has told you this today, I love you. You deserve to hear that. Salute to you all. The brave never fall. Learn, laugh, and level up.